if you get really tight or sore hips, or if you've had a hip replacement, or if you feel very inflexible through that area, and this exercise is particularly good for dancers because they're used to that turnout position of the hips. Okay, so therefore they don't really work in that internal position of the femur in the hip socket. So what this exercise is that it is a joint release for the hip. Okay, now your hip is a ball and socket joint, so you've got the socket and then you've got the ball that sits in there. Now commonly we either have our legs in a parallel position or a turned out position. If you're going to go step somewhere, you always open the legs. Rarely do we ever cross our legs. I mean, sitting, that's not really changing the femur bone to be in an internal rotation. It's still actually parallel sitting in that hip socket. Okay, so what I'm talking about is an internal rotation, like a pigeon-toed type of position of the legs. Okay, so what you're going to do is lay down onto your back. Let one leg just relax down, and you're going to hug the other knee towards your chest. Now you're going to cup your hands together and you're going to actually hold on to the patella, the kneecap. And what you want to feel like you're doing is you want to feel like you're pushing this bone, the femur, down into the hip socket. Okay, so imagine that this hip socket's got a little bit of a gap in between. You want to push the ball of the femur down into that socket. Okay, so pushing it down and pull your knee as close to your chest as you possibly can. Now you're going to draw a circle with the knee going across the chest. Okay, so it's going to go across and then away from the body. Pull it nice and close to your chest and then go across and then pull it away from the body. So across and pull it away from the body. So you're going to do 10 to 20 in each direction. Okay, so that's one direction, and the opposite direction is pulling it towards the opposite shoulder, towards the chest and around. Okay, now it's going to be quite painful if you are tight through that area. So what happens is we're wearing and tearing one part of the socket of the hip. Alright, we're either doing just where your legs in parallel or turned out. We don't really get to wear this other part of the socket. So this is a great exercise to actually get inside the joint and massage the hip joint. Now people who've got or have had a hip replacement, you might find that you can only move your hip a tiny bit. That's fine. Do it. It will be painful and it will gradually loosen up to get bigger and bigger with the movement. Okay, so about 10 to 20 each direction, each leg. It's as simple as that. You will feel the pain when the knee comes across the chest. So it's that internal rotation. Now if you don't feel any pain and you're quite flexible through there, then you've got no issues. Your hip socket is has been worn nice and evenly. So some people are lucky in that regard. Okay, so you can see that I can't get very much range of movement in there. I'm very tight through my internal area because of all my dancing years of turning out my legs. Okay, so often with all the exercises that I've done throughout my life, I've worn the outside of the socket. So I'm very tight and I should be doing this seriously every day. So if you are very tight, try and do it daily. If you can't do it daily, do it as much as you can.